Welcome or welcome back. It would take me probably 2 hours at least to cover everything in the State of the Union address and the GOP response. I'm too old for that. I don't have the time or the energy to do that, and I don't think anybody would hang in there for 2 hours anyway. So I'm just going to hit a few things uh, regarding these two speeches. Really nice speeches, but both comic and tragic at the same time. Uh, so much propaganda, you almost had to gag. Uh, just unbelievable lies, half truths, and then a bit of truth sprinkled in here and there throughout, because that's the way propaganda works. They put in some truths so the rest of it seems believable. So let's start out with the president. Quote, the shadow of crisis has passed, unquote. Uh, I'm assuming there he was referring to the economic crisis. Uh, they put out all this propaganda about job numbers and how things are on the upswing now and the economy's booming and blah, blah. Uh, they leave out quite a bit. It's not only a half truth, there's a lot of omission here. Uh, please, the crisis has not passed. Not any way, shape, or form has the crisis passed. Here's one thing that Obama left out. There's still an estimated $1 quadrillion worth of bizarre exotic derivatives out there in the market. Uh, now, I'm not sure how many people are aware of this, and I'm only aware of it because I've been listening to economist after economist after economist and professors of economics at one after the other since 2008. The crisis of 2008 was not caused by subprime mortgages. They were the trigger. They were certainly involved in the crisis, but they were only the trigger. The underlying cause was all of the millions and millions, billions of dollars worth of derivatives, financial derivatives, these exotic, bizarre instruments that were invented by insiders on Wall Street. Many of them credit default swaps, which are supposedly a type of insurance, but they're not called insurance because if they were, then the bank that's selling them would have to have capital reserves to back them up. So when the subprime mortgages began to fail, the derivatives, the credit default swaps, were called in by the investors. The pension funds, the cities, the counties, the countries that had purchased these things, and there was no payment on them. That's what caused the 2008 crisis. Well, there's still an estimated $1 quadrillion worth of derivatives out there. $1 quadrillion. That's 1,000 times a trillion. So these derivatives are attached to any number of commodities that Wall Street sells stock in. For example, oil. Oil has all kinds of derivatives attached to them. Maybe we're seeing the bursting of the oil bubble. I don't know that, but that's certainly possible because of all the derivatives attached to them. So Obama, he not only he doesn't gloss over it. He doesn't even mention that. There's another financial crisis coming. It's going to be worse than the 2008 crisis. Now, in terms of the jobs, well, what kind of jobs? What do they pay? Are they temporary? Are they part-time? Do they have any benefits attached to them? So, no, the shadow of crisis has not passed. Now, in addition, Obama wants Congress to pass a resolution authorizing the use of force against what he calls ISIL. Everyone else calls it ISIS. For some reason, that L is really important to the administration, which stands for Levant, whatever the hell that means. But anyway, he wants authorization. He's already at war. I think what's going on is he's a little bit concerned about the fact that the New York Times has publicly stated that his ISIS war is unconstitutional, and they are correct. And violating the Constitution is an impeachable offense. Now, I don't expect him to be impeached for reasons I gave in a separate video. I won't go into that again. But anyway, all of a sudden he wants authorization from Congress for a war that he's already in. And then finally with Obama, the TPP, the Trans-Pacific Partnership, he wants fast-track authority. In other words, he doesn't want any discussion on the TPP because there has been a leak. It was kept very secretive for a long time. And then a whistleblower, a leaker, showed us some of the TPP, and it's disastrous for Main Street. It's a boon to Wall Street. And that's why Obama wants fast-track authority. Not because of trade or it's going to improve the job situation. You know, that's what they said about NAFTA. We lost 1 million jobs because of NAFTA. So anyway, that's my critique of the Obama speech. Then we had Joni Ernst, the new senator from Iowa, giving the GOP response. I don't think she mentioned that she's backed by the Koch brothers. I believe I read that each one of the brothers gave her $2 million for her Senate campaign. Don't quote me on that. I'm not positive. I'd have to look it up, but I think so. Anyway, she gave this really sweet, down-home, I was poor once speech. Nice speech. But she left out so much. I mean, come on. Big business. Anyway, one of the things that Senator Ernst wants to do is to dismantle burdensome regulatory agencies. This is a big thing with some Republicans, maybe most Republicans. And in particular, Ms. Ernst wants to dismantle the Fed EPA. So I have a question for Ms. Ernst and a statement for her. Number one, are you aware, Senator, that the Fed EPA oversees the cleanup of dozens and dozens and dozens and dozens and dozens of Superfund hazardous waste sites, contaminated sites? The contamination was the result of either the federal government, and that would be primarily on military bases, or big business, big factories and power companies and other generators of hazardous waste. Because in the 40s, 50s, and 60s, primarily, the Fed government and the the big corporations were extremely careless in terms of hazardous waste disposal. Now, this happens to be my area of expertise, so I know what I'm talking about. I used to inspect these sites. I've been to Superfund sites. It's an obscenity what was done by big business and by the Fed government relative to hazardous waste in this country. So, my question is, not only are you aware of Superfund sites, but just as importantly, if you dismantle the EPA, who's going to oversee the cleanup of these sites? You? I don't think so. Now, I admit the Fed EPA often oversteps its bounds. I agree with that. But dismantle it totally, I don't think that's a good idea. You know, tweak it maybe. Get it more in line with reason and logic, perhaps. But dismantle it? No. No, that's not a good idea. All you have to do is look at the contamination of groundwater and surface water and soil and air in the 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, and on up. And you can see that we have to have some kind of regulatory agency regarding this area. Now, unfortunately, the EPA is way behind on Superfund cleanup sites, but dismantling them totally, I don't think that's a good idea. Okay, that's it. Thanks for watching, and please, if you're seriously interested in politics in this country, you had to have noticed the propaganda, the omissions, the half-truths throughout Obama's speech and Joni Ernst's speech. You had to. Okay. Everyone take care. And let me figure out how to turn this thing off. Thanks for watching. Take care. Hope to see you again. Bye-bye.